Hello, and welcome to another Angry unit of the week. And today, we're taking a look at the Lynx 3. The Resvan Lynx was a British multi-purpose utility helicopter designed for civilian and military use, which was designed in the 70s. For the time period, and heck even today, it is a rather fast and acrobatic helicopter, as back in 1972 it managed to break some speed records by going just about 200 miles an hour. In military use, they are primarily used as transportation utility helicopters. The Navy would end up converting some into anti-submarine or anti-ship variants, some of the anti-ship variants actually being used during the Falklands War, and the actual army would convert some with tow missiles and were actually used in the Gulf War to blow up Iraqi tanks. However, in the 80s, the Resvan company, the producer of the Lynx, were looking to get into the French and German export market by meeting their needs for an attack helicopter, and so they'd end up improving the Lynx into a prototype, the Lynx 3, to meet these needs. They basically improved the aeronautical capability of the Lynx with a more powerful engine. They would switch out the missiles for Hellfire missiles, and also experimented with using Stinger and a 20mm autocannon. They performed a few trials with a single prototype they made in the mid-80s, but by the late 80s the design pretty much fell flat, as the French and Germans at that time were looking at the Tiger attack helicopter program to fulfill their needs. In-game, the Lynx 3 is a 100-point anti-tank, anti-helicopter helicopter available to the British, and it has 2 weapons. So you have 8 Hellfire missiles, which are semi-active guided, with 2.8 km range, 70% accuracy, 50% while moving, and a whopping 26 armor penetration power. You also have 4 Stinger shots with 2.2 km range against helis, 1.8 against aircraft, or airplanes I should say, 50% accuracy, and 5 high explosive power. It's a pretty decent little 1-2 combo here. The Hellfire missiles will make short work of the majority of Soviet heavy tanks in 2, maybe 3 shots depending. And yeah, the Hellfires are really bloody good. Not as good as the Apache longbow runs, but those are rather special, they're fire and forget. And this is pretty standard Stingers. The Stingers will sting mainly enemy helicopters. You can potentially shoot down aircraft, but that's not really our job. Down to miscellaneous stats. No armor whatsoever, 6 HP, small size, medium optics, a speed of 330 km an hour, has poor stealth, an autonomy of 450 km, is literally from 1984, is a prototype, and is type restricted to motorized and airborne decks. So in battle, the Lynx 3 is, well, pretty damn good, I have to say, especially in the confines of the deck it is brought in. Because if we look at the other common row of helicopters available, none of them are exactly great. The Lynx 2 is pretty decent with their TOW-2 missiles and a little bit cheaper, but you do lose out on that range. And that extra 100-200 meter range does improve the Lynx 3 survivability by quite a bit, because it allows you to outrange some of the more cheaper end surface-to-air anti-helicopter options. And anyway, what other anti-tank helicopter are you going to use apart from those 2? The Canadian SS Huey? I don't think so. And of course, in the anti-tank row, Lynx 3 is pretty damn good. It will blow up a lot of tanks very easily. But it also has anti-helicopter missiles with the Stingers. Now, this isn't a dedicated anti-helicopter helicopter. You shouldn't be using this to try and shoot down Ka-50 Akulas, but it's really more of a decent defensive armament against said anti-helicopter helicopters. If a Sokos tries to rush you up, at least you can slap back a little bit with your Stingers. If the opportunity does arise and you see a pesky recon Mi-8 flying a little bit too close to your front line, you can always punish them with Stingers. Unlike with other nations with improvised attack helicopters, the Lynx 3's main weakness is the lack of HP or armor. It will go down quite easily to a stiff breeze from any decent anti-aircraft net. The nice thing about Lynx 3, it's bloody fast at 330 km an hour. If you riff a little bit of danger, you can bugger out of here, and you actually have a good chance of surviving thanks to its speed. Overall, I'd say in a standard Commonwealth deck, it is definitely a must-take, as there's really no other Royal helicopters to take. Even though you don't necessarily need the dedicated anti-tank, you already have a lot of very good anti-tank options within a Commonwealth deck, especially within Britain with the Law 80s and the Challies and all of that. Having flying Hellfire missiles provided by the Yanks, and Stinger missiles, I guess, too, is honestly not that bad. You can't really go wrong with that. And, well, I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another Rang Rouge unit of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And, as usual, please just take it easy.